Reports that Cessnock Police Station was to lose 5 officers sparked heated reactions from locals, who believed the area was already under-policed. Today's announcement that no one would be moved comes as cold comfort. According to Mayor Marie Callaghan, the figures speak for themselves. Crime in the Cessnock area is on the increase.
It is becoming atrocious. It's incredibly worrying. Now, in 1990, crime increased by 30% in our local government area. In the first 3 months of this year, it's already up another 40%. We have a major problem, possibly due to the unemployment, possibly due to the recession, but whatever the reason, we need more police. What we needed was an extra 10 police and police on the beat.
Nearby Weston is patrolled by police from Cessnock and Curry, and residents are feeling the brunt of a police service with facilities stretched to the limit. The murder of George Woodcock last year shook up the local community. The fact that and other local crimes haven't been solved leaves the population of the small town uneasy.
Well, in the last couple of years we've had a serious robbery. We've had a chap thrown off an overhead walkway onto a train line. There's a lot of vandalism in the area because it just seems to go unchecked and the police don't seem to have the powers to do much about it.
Many elderly residents are afraid, and while they're reluctant to talk about it on air, every person we spoke to at the Western Workers Club expressed similar views.
I used to go for walks and go all around Western and everything, but I won't do it now because I am so afraid. You know, one time Western was a place where you could walk and feel free. Well, you don't now.
And while the police department believes the area is adequately staffed, locals disagree.
Yes, we need police. We definitely do, because there's none there in Western for us to fall back on.
The only clue Mayfield detectives have in the senseless attack on Antonio Pisk is this diver's watch. Police believe he yanked it from his attacker's arm during the struggle. According to police, Mr Pisk would visit the Waratah Rugby Club every night, have a few quiet drinks and walk home around 11 o'clock. On Tuesday night, police believe he left the club at the usual time, but was attacked minutes later by 1, possibly 2 men near this bus shelter in Turton Road. The aim of the attack appears to be robbery. Mr Pisk's wallet, which contained around $200, was taken. Mr Pisk crawled to his neighbour's house in Prince Street and raised the alarm. When police arrived, he was still clutching the bloody diver's watch.
The only clue we have at this point in time is the diver's watch, or what we believe to be a diver's watch, which was taken from one of the offenders. And we're just hoping by circulating the description of the watch we might be able to induce someone to contact police and assist us with our inquiries.
If anyone recognises the watch, they should contact Mayfield detectives.
Souths opened well with 2 smart tries and then the Butcher boys rallied. From the play the ball, it was front rower Terry Pastor-Mugalow who busted the Thin Lions' defence, and he was able to link up with centre Jeff Rock, and Charlestown Brambles were in to score. From then on, however, it was a one-horse race as Souths clicked into gear. Darren Ford was instrumental in the try of the night, combining with Robert Rouse, who made a small break. On to Ford backing up, and he got a pass away to Paul Crane, who didn't die with the ball, but popped up a pass to Tim Butler, who did the rest, and the Lions were home 26-8 in a bright opening to the season. Juniors up to the age of 16 attended the free coaching seminar, and the players from the AIS who take part in the Southeastern Basketball League took the young basketballers through all sorts of drills and exercises. The clinic was part of a national campaign to teach kids how to play and with a message involved. For the coaches today, it's another string to their bow.
There's a twofold purpose. One, it allows them to understand the game a little bit more, but also it's good for them to be involved with the younger people and, of course, push the message of the drug offensive.
And that's the big message here today. Not only are you conducting a coaching clinic, but you're pushing the drug offensive.
That's right. We're trying to make younger kids aware of the dangers of alcohol abuse, smoking, and the dangers of wrongful drug use. And it's very good for the kids to act as models, role models, to talk to their younger peers.
The Belmont 16-foot Sailing Club has hosted the 13th Australian Secondary School Sailing Championships over the past week, and again record entries contested the 4 divisions. In conjunction with the national titles, the State Schools Championships were held, as well as the CHS titles. Yachts included NS-14s, lasers, cherubs, corsairs, sabots, VJs, all sorts of catamarans, sailboards and a host of other types of sailing craft. Conditions were ideal, although a little more breeze would have been handy. Merryweather High's A. Lancy took out the Pelican division, while B. Bond Sailing Equipe won the sailboard division. The only other result that we have is Division 3, won by Shannon.
The official opening of Newcastle's Ronald McDonald House is the climax of fundraising which began in 1987. Hundreds of people from the local quilting club to budgerigar enthusiasts have helped. Nestled in the John Hunter Hospital's grounds, the $1.1 million complex will provide a home away from home for up to 8 families with seriously ill children.
That families stay in the house while their children are sick, whether they're suffering from a serious illness or whether they've been injured in some kind of an accident. And the idea is that the house provides a place for them to stay near their children, and it'll be as much like a home as possible.
Over at radio station 2KO, they were working hard to raise still more money for the house.
What's the total right now, Richard?
It's about $22,000.
$22,000, and remember it's for Ronald McDonald House, and it's a fabulous. We're looking at what, around $50,000?
Well, to tell you the truth, the target that we'd set ourselves for the actual piece of equipment that is $17,000. So we've exceeded that.
Fabulous.
Proceeds from the radiothon will go towards building an air bridge linking the house and the hospital, balconies on rooms and a wheelchair ramp. Chris Barth, NBN News.
Good to hear a friendly voice, mate.
That's the voice of a crew member on board the Atlantis, 450 kilometres above the Earth. From his home in Maitland, Dave Hetzkovich and budding satellite student Andy Gallagher have been tracking the craft since it was launched at midnight on Friday. They're receiving slow-motion pictures from the Atlantis, and a computer plots each of its 2-hour orbits over 3 oceans and continents. Its mission is to launch a giant gamma-ray telescope capable of peering deep into the universe. For now, though, its crew is providing a glimpse of life in space, including what's for dinner.
Well, the food's pretty good. I'm looking at a container of hot chicken soup that I'm about to drink down, and I have a bag of M&Ms in my pocket.
Bravo 5 Alpha Whiskey Papa in the Space Shuttle Atlantis.
Dave and Andy tried unsuccessfully to raise the shuttle earlier this afternoon.
Hope to catch you on the next
they'll keep
orbit
trying.
if you possibly are around. Victor.
Winding Creek has a catchment area extending from Charlestown to Tickhole Tunnel. Choked with 17 years of neglect, it burst its banks in February last year, plunging nearby houses under a metre of water. Lake Macquarie City Council responded with a $64,000 bank restoration program, later abandoned pending a study of the site. But reaches of the creek on state rail land remain untouched.
Well, our creek, unlike most other creeks, just won't take any water. The problem there, of course, is that it's that full of car bodies or supermarket trolleys and old tyres and creeks full of, we've got trees growing there and bits of everything.
Residents say they've been asking State Rail to clean up their section of the creek for 15 years. The Assistant Transport Minister's office says it's waiting instruction from Lake Macquarie Council before making a move. Meanwhile, residents fear the debris and vegetation choking the creek could cause unnecessary flooding with heavy rain.
All the people in this area around here lose sleep. Every time it rains, they feel that they're going to have another session like we had on the 2nd of February last year, and that is major flooding.
Caught in a rut, feeling bored or frustrated with work, trying harder to get ahead but sliding backwards. They're the symptoms a salesman of success is looking for, and Newcastle, like many cities during the recession, has its share of battling businesses and workers facing job losses.
We're trying to get people to be more successful. If the small business people who come to our seminar were 10 or 15% better off as a result of it, then the chances of them retrenching people is diminished by quite a bit, isn't it?
Jack Collis is a successful businessman by many people's standards. Starting out in his own clothing store in a small country town, he's now an author and painter, as well as admitting to being a millionaire. Jack's a gifted orator who knows how to bring out the best in people and their labours, and boasts 100 ideas to buck up business in tough times. He'll deliver these at a seminar in the city next week. Jack is an example of his own recipe for success.
I refuse to have off days, Andy. You have a choice in life to make the days good or the days are bad. Largely they're made by themselves. Over years I've managed to discipline myself that even when I do feel some of this coming on, then I look for something positive in my life, and within a matter of an hour I'm back on track again.
A child is dead and 2 adults fighting for their lives after a house fire at Killarney Vale on the Central Coast. The blaze is being treated as suspicious.
In the US, a bizarre legal battle for the custody of a surrogate child. The baby's father has divorced his wife. Both believe they should have custody, but so too does the natural mother.
For all the news, join us tonight at 6. During a brief respite from a busy delivery schedule around Newcastle this afternoon, Teamster Mike Keogh took team leader, Australian champion Clydesdale Cooper's Draymaster, into the Wharf Brewery for a pint or two of the famous Cloudy Ale. Still dressed in full brass harness, the 1,000-kilogram 8-year-old seemed to know what it was all about. A quick flick of the lips and down it slips.
He would have been into at least 12 hotels now that I know of in the last few years in the front bar like this, and had a few Coopers.
Does he enjoy it?
Well, he's never complained to me.
But Cooper's Draymaster and the other 3 Clydesdales in the team are not just show ponies. Back home in Adelaide, they have a regular delivery run to hotels each week, so the hurly-burly of city traffic was no problem to these gentle giants.
It takes a long time to get them educated to work in the traffic and buses and trains and all the sort of things you don't normally think about, but once they've been trained up properly, there are no worries after that.
The delivery dray itself is 100 years old, hewn from oak, with fittings dating back to the 30s, giving Novocastrians a chance to feel a bit of history. This afternoon, it was back to work before retiring for the night at the Broadmeadow Showgrounds. Then it will be back home to Adelaide by the weekend, courtesy of a motorised float, of course.
The latest quarterly survey of 50 Hunter Valley manufacturers revealed production, sales and profits are all down, and the situation is expected to worsen.
We're in for a tough time. We're not through this recession by any means.
The Chamber of Manufacturers blames high interest rates, consumers' reluctance to spend their hard-earned cash, and businesses which are not investing because of a lack of consumer demand. BHP Group General Manager Paul Jean says he was not surprised by the survey results. BHP has been concerned about the viability of many customers who buy steel. Domestic demand for BHP rod and bar steel products is down 22% on last year, and the demand is continuing to nosedive. There is also bad news on the job front. The survey revealed that 1 in 5 firms laid off staff in the last quarter, and the forecast is it's going to get worse. President of the ACTU, Martin Ferguson, was in Newcastle this afternoon.
Clearly, I don't consider that we've reached the peak of unemployment at the moment. I think we'll top 9%. It's a question of getting through these difficult few months. And the Australian Government's industry statement of the 12th of March has laid the foundations for the turnaround.
Jane Anderson, NBN News.
On one side of the classroom is the government, which is preparing a bill designed to promote the recycling of waste in schools.
It's all possible and we can all do it with a little bit of help from the community and schools.
On the other side is the opposition, which is discussing possible amendments to the proposed legislation. These Year 11 students are putting into practice the lessons they've learned in their legal studies classes.
The Law Society, in running this for students, gives them an insight into an area that really in everyday life they don't have any dealings with them and generally is considered boring.
During Law Week, these Hunter Region students will play out their parliamentary roles in the Newcastle Town Hall. 6 of them have been selected to take part in a mock parliament which will be held in the New South Wales Legislative Council chamber in Sydney.
I'll be looking forward to the occasion, so I think it gives you a better insight into parliamentary proceedings.
But will these budding politicians follow the example of our elected MPs by calling their opponents names and hurling abuse at them?
Well, if it has to be done, it will be.
Jane Anderson, NBN News.
As an industrial city, Newcastle produces a significant level of waste, some toxic. But as there is no disposal facility in the area to treat the refuse, it's believed many industries dump the hazardous material illegally.
It's obviously being dumped, and my understanding is that there's been a long history of illegal dumping throughout the Hunter region.
We're hearing all sorts of reports. We've spoken to water board officials who say they cannot account for or just do not understand where tonnes of litres of industrial liquid waste are going.
Residents near Singleton last week uncovered one such dump in their area. Tests showed council sewage ponds contain significant levels of toxic substances. According to Dr. Kate Short of the Total Environment Centre, the dump is just one of many known to exist in the Hunter.
A very senior person in government actually told me that they were concerned about the mines in YE and about the water table in that area and the gradual leaching of wastes into the bottom part of Lake Macquarie.
Dr. Short believes government regulations permit and even encourage industries to pollute.
Well, there's double standards. You can, under State Pollution Control Commission's licence conditions, discharge more pesticide waste through a wetland than you can to the ocean. The ocean is a great big vast moving body of water. A wetland is not a moving body of water, but you're allowed to put more pesticide waste in there. Where's the sense in that?
The problem, though, she believes, can be lessened by giving local government the power to enforce standards.
Because they live here. This is their community.